Well, the first question is very broad. What does the term the arts mean to you?
So the arts is any of the visual performing arts, any of the spoken arts, any of the writing arts. To me is also creative writing falls into the arts. Of course, movement, dance, film, video, music, any of those things. But I also, as a former speech teacher, believe very much that oratory and poetry reading and the spoken word and how you present also is very much part of the arts.
Visual arts to me is when you go and you see something that's in an art museum somewhere. The visual arts, what you see outside Hall Financial Office Park over there, those are visual arts to me. In addition to having drill team, things in high school, the band, to me that's being part of the art, it's not being part of the sports. So any of those kind of items that the kids can participate in or the adults can participate in where they express themselves in artistic fashion, or how that would be, whether they even sing, they're in a choir. And I need to tell you, I'm colorblind, so those don't mean anything to me, so you probably just need to go like this and get stopped on there. But the performing arts, obviously, I travel quite frequently, and I like to go listen to the plays, to the musicals, to the orchestras, listen to the Plano Symphony. Those are the different types for me, the visual and the performing arts.
What role should the Convention and Visitors Bureau, the Community Development Corporation, and the Economic Development Corporation play in funding Frisco's Performing Arts Center? How could this help achieve the goal of attracting a Fortune 500 employer to Frisco?
So the EDC is going to be limited in some very specific things that have to do with infrastructure. The CDC is going to have a little bit more leeway on some things that they could do with land or other support. And the CVB is going to be able to, if the right projects come along, donate more of that hotel motel tax if it is appropriate and if the budget is there for the right project. And I think that is the key in that sense. If the right project is there, it's one of those things that we could all go forward with in a partnership. And I have no problem with that. I have a problem in just saying, let's try to figure out what that solution should be and just throwing money that direction without knowing what the real solution is and what we need to use it for. I think that's the best way to kind of take it out of that political realm and actually put it where it should go and do it the right way.
Okay, I was down in the Houston area, down the Sugar Land area, so I'm well aware of the growth that they've had down there, similar to what we've had up here in Collin County, and Frisco area specifically. And I think that they are setting a model about how we can use those funds and why we need to donate more funds. But already all of those three organizations here in Frisco have already helped and partnered together with the Railroad Museum. So they've already come together on one project, and that is with the Railroad Museum. And I think that we can continue to put pressure on them to say, look, we have a project here, people have voted on it, we have some funding here, sources ready to go. Let's get them on board, because other people out in the community, in the United States and in the world, they can look and see, look, we have a great partnership with these three entities already who are already coming forward saying they're going to work on this project, they want this project. And I think that would add credence to our ability to be able to attract those 500 Fortune companies that want to come in here if we have that partnership. And we already have had it, and we've already done it.
If elected, what will you do to make the construction of a performing arts center one of the City Council's top 10 priorities for the next year?
So I think we have to be very clear. In order to make it a top 10 priority, it has to be very clear what the scope of that project should look like. I'm concerned about if we make it a top 10 priority, then we might somewhat put the cart before the horse sometimes in forcing a project or a partnership that might not be the best partnership for that. And so I want us to be ready, just like we've done in other projects. We didn't make certain projects that we've done around here, whether it was sports facilities or others, as a priority. They were things that the right partnership came along, the right opportunity came along, and we took it because we could move on it and we were flexible and ready. If that right partnership is there and it comes along, we should be able to move on that and jump on that. And I have no problems with doing so. My concern is if we make it that in an overgeneral priority, we might do it incorrectly. That's not going to be for the best of the fine arts, nor is it going to be for the best of that situation. And so those are some things that I'm concerned about. And I think one of the key things that we want to make sure we look for is a project where the maintenance and operations is not run by the city, but it is run by either the private group or the arts group, because they will do it better, they know the needs, they know how it should be done, and do it most appropriately. When city governments tend to get into those types of things, the bureaucracy tends to make it not so good. So that would be my concern there.
Well, my concern would be that it continues to just rock along here with nothing being done. And as you can see, it's been years and years and years and years, and 2 votes later, and $14 million sitting there, and it just keeps sitting there. So we have to do something to move forward. So I would immediately get in there and try to make sure that it's a top 10 priority. There are some priorities that don't have any structure to them right now. The 380, that's one of their top 10 priorities. What do we have out there? We have a Cinemark that's coming in the future. Another one is to ensuring that we have the Star has a grand opening. That's somewhere down in the future. Those are items that are already on the top 10 list. Why not add the arts facilities on the top 10 list for next year? Remind them that we have the voters that have already voted for it. We have $14 million that we can use. We have property that can be donated, and we have options out there. And just let's decide which one of these options that we can actually afford to have here in Frisco, and where is the partner that we're going to be able to work with us on that project.
The question is, do you support increasing Frisco's hotel occupancy tax contribution to the arts? If so, what percentage would you vote to appropriate? Explain your answer. And if you could, we'll cut this one to about 45 seconds each, please.
I couldn't give you a specific number that I would think is appropriate, but I do know that in my conversations both with Tammy and Brad and several others from the last couple of years, is that they were concerned with how the money was spent over the last couple of years and the accountability for it. And so that is very much one of their concerns. And I think going forward, that money has to be used very specifically according to law. If those plans are the correct plans, and if they've got the right projects there, I don't have a problem with increasing that budget appropriately as those things come forward, especially as our motel tax increases because of the number of motel rooms that we get into the city. That money's only going to increase, and I see no problem doing that.
With us having approximately 2,000 rooms coming online pretty quickly in the next couple of months and years for the hotels, I think it's going to increase naturally as it goes up as far as the income that comes in. And I think once when we get the shovel in the ground and we get some kind of visible area out there for the arts, I think at that point in time, I would be agreeable to raising it and all the way up to the 15% if necessary.
How would you go about attracting talent, intellectual talent, and passion from people to help us with the development of the Performing Arts Center?
So I think you go to those who this is their passion. I think you go to our arts board and ask them for their recommendations of the most appropriate people. For me to decide a certain person is the best fit is probably not the best choice. For those who are engaged in that community on a daily basis, they're going to have the most recommendations about what is most appropriate in that sense. Tammy has that passion. When you are in that place of knowing what the best appropriate needs are, and you're going to carry that banner better and faster than I could ever do that for you. And I believe very much that my leadership style is you find those around you who have those passions and that level of expertise, and you let them shine in that moment, and you support them with as much support as you can provide.
I think I would reach out to some of those individuals that are supporting me and ask them, what is it that's making your city, what is it making individuals come from our city to your city? Going down to Richardson, going down to Dallas, going over to listen to some music or whatever that they're going to do. What is it that they have that we don't have over there? That's one thing that I would ask. Second of all, I would reach out to the teachers here who've got the art classes, the orchestras, the music teachers, and find out from them, What is it that we need? How much space do you need? What can we do for you? And try to get an idea, because we are at some point just guessing, but we have to have some kind of a concrete plan. But these are the individuals who deal with our children on a daily basis, and they're going to know what size that we need, how many. We're building all these new schools, so why not use our resources right here in town? That would be our teachers. And then obviously reach out to the business community. What is it that you want? What would you like to send your clients or your individual employees to on a day off? We can't all go play golf on a Friday afternoon, but we can all go somewhere on a Friday night. We want to go listen to some music or some art or see some art. Well, my name is Terry Green, and I am a 26-year attorney, and I've been living here in Frisco for 14 years, the longest of anyone here. I came from Houston. I got involved in the arts when I was down in Houston, working for a large law firm by the name of Vincent & Elkins. And just like I said earlier, when the gentlemen went off to play golf, the ladies, we had to have something to do. The employees had something to do, so they gave us tickets to go down and see some plays and musicals, and that's how I got involved in going and watching those type of things, because we didn't have that in East Texas when I was growing up, that's for sure. And then I got to where I started traveling and was able to go see things and go visualize and go touch something and go read something and go hear something and go watch something, whether it's just a play or a musical or listen to an orchestra or listen to opera. I mean, you have to go out there and experience something like that. And so I think with me, the arts is something that's very important. Not everybody in our school, the 53,000 children that are here, not every one of them is going to play Friday night football. It's just a given. We do have a diversity in this community. We absolutely need to bring the arts here so that they will have something that they can do, where they can come perform. They can bring grandma and grandpas to watch them in a nice venue. The black box is too small. It's only holds around 100 people. And when I go to listen to the Plano Symphony at Christmas time, I've gone every year, we have to go to a high school somewhere to listen to it. We need to be able to have a venue. If we have a museum that's sitting next door to the performing arts facility, we can rent out those rooms for the practice sessions, and we have all this foot traffic all day long. That's 30 seconds. Oh, 30 seconds. So we can have foot traffic all day long, so we can use those venues. But they don't have to sit out there and be idle. It doesn't have to be a big, giant facility, but somewhere between 120 and 2,000 seating facility. That's what we need to be looking for here in the Frisco area, and we can do it. We've brought in Jerry Jones. We can surely bring in a performing arts center.
So my name is Shauna Huffman, and I want to thank you for coming out in the weather tonight and braving the cold to hear from us and hear what our passions are and the things that we find important. As I said, as a former high school teacher, and I actually, when I taught speech, we were in the fine arts, and one of the things that I found very crucial with students was to allow each one of them, no matter what that passion was, to find a way for them to find their voice and to find their passion so that they could be well-rounded citizens going into the future. We have done that within our own family. We're encouraging that. We've done it with our own dollars, within our own family, and towards our own budgets. One of the things that I think that we have somewhat failed to do here in Frisco is to continue to push this momentum forward, not because there hasn't been a passion before it, but because it's become a political football at times. You have just as many people who have claimed that we shouldn't spend the money as you have those who have claimed that we should at times. And I think it's time to take it out of that realm and to let the passions behind it find the right plan, find the right purpose, and find the right path to do that, so that we can have what we need here to be a well-rounded community and to make it the best that Frisco can be. The problem is that it's probably going to have to come from those who are in that community on a daily basis to rise up and do it the way that is best, because we're going to then come up with a plan that is not just throwing money at a solution or throwing some solution at the wall and hoping that that is the right way to do it. We're going to find the plan that is actually the most unique and the best fit for Frisco, which is how we've done all of our projects here with those corporate partnerships. We've set a very good plan in motion. We have a lot of examples to follow in that with the way we've done other projects, and I would like to see us continue to do that in this project and to move forward in that. And I hope that as you go forward on April 25th for early voting, that you will consider me. My family and I have been here for 12 years, and both of our daughters are engaged in this effort and go forward in this. So thank you for coming out tonight, and we'll see you at the polls.